Okay, review in linear, so everything looks square. Wallpaper available in the description. Check out Hi-Fi Guides in the Hi-Fi Guides forum. Don't forget to support this channel on Patreon and Subscribestar. See reviews, accept these videos early. No one needs to see these reviews early. Chewbacca is going to the vet today for all you people that are super concerned with my baby, which means I currently have a piece of cardboard in front of the litter box to make sure he doesn't go to the bathroom for a couple hours, pee, so they can collect a pee sample. And I managed to put the cardboard in front of Chewbacca right before she had to take the biggest dump of her life. And I found out about that about 6 minutes later. I love my cat, and I'm sure you all do too. So don't worry, she's okay. We're just getting her annual checkup, and we'll make sure nothing's wrong with the old girl. So, what? Let me put a timer on because I am the worst, and time does not matter to me. Yeah, I know your litter box is closed, and I know you haven't had food in 12 hours, but that's what the doctor said, so good girl. Good girl. 25 minutes. The Bic America F12, or how I learned to stop worrying and just buy a sub. So that is still, to this moment, the only subwoofer that comes to mind when you're like, I need a cheap sub. There's good, lesser cost Emotiva subs, the SE8 and the SE12, but that's a 12, and it's not fancy. It doesn't have a lot of fancy options, and it's under $200. At least it was when I was reviewing it. And maybe not the most musical sub, but above Polk quality. In the audio world, there is Polk quality, and then you are either above that or below it. And a lot of cheaper Klipsch subs are at Polk quality, and then Dayton subs are slightly above Polk quality. Dayton is above, and this was above. So it was that's the sub. If it still exists, I'll link it. I haven't had the link to the sub. You could tell how my life has changed by how often I had to link the Bic America F12 in my day-to-day, and I haven't had to link it in a long time. Sound demo, sound demo, sound demo, sound demo, sound demo, sound demo, demo. The B&W P7s, aka Bling Bling Sugar. Wow, what a fucking terrible title that was. I apologize retroactively for that one. Please don't poop on carpet. I'm glad you pooped on the hardwood at least. Those were very nice, but the pads were not nice. And I think they sounded good. I honestly haven't thought about the B&W P7s in so long that I don't care. If I haven't thought about them, there's shit in this list like the fucking sub, that I think about on a weekly to daily basis. Never even think about the P7. Moving on. Hey, Chewbacca, do you remember one time I opened up a Minecraft server for my fan base, and it took them 5 days before they figured out how to nuke the spawn? Literally launching, they built a TNT launcher. Built this beautiful thing. My friends came in, and hey, we'll build this dojo and fully protected spawn because you couldn't do anything in it. But then they launched TNT from the fucking shores like pirates. And I thought that was a hilarious way to end the server because that was it. I was I'm done. People are just going to minge the shit out of this. I'm done. There's a video where I review my Foobar2000 setup. And that was a not safe for work wallpaper that I didn't end up using. But that has 140,000 views, and people were just hey, how do you Foobar? Because I still, to this moment, Foobar in the exact same way, where it's just a big transparent screen, if it ever loads. Come on, baby. I believe in you. Maybe because it's loading that. It's a big old transparent screen, and I run a custom, in fact, Zeos, I know this is gonna suck for you, but could you link the Steam Green layout? Because all my folders and files and everything are they're all green. This is the color green from the Steam loader in 2007, and I'm that's cool because it's military green, and I like it more than a dark gray theme on things. I don't know, we're getting off on topic, but basically, as long as I run a high contrast theme, and you run Windows 10, and then you set transparency and Foobar, you can just run my thing, and then waveform seek bar, and then go nuts. And this is specifically my reflection, but this, if I hit play. Milk Drop, which is just fantastic to look at. It's just, oh God, this is from Winamp back in the way day. And there's a plugin you have to get that installs Winamp to pull Milk Drop out to put it in Foobar, and it's limited to 30 FPS because I literally, every time you try to load the settings menu for it in Foobar, she freaks out. It's no. Hold on, wait. Show playlist, quit. Oh, I can't do it. Yeah, so anyway, my Foobar. This is my Foobar setup 2000. My Foobar 2000 setup video. I should do one again, but not much has changed. Like literally not even the layout. Just added the VU. I reviewed my Sortimo hard drive array. Holy shit, I do not remember doing that. Oh, this works again. Before I had money for a NAS, like a proper NAS, I built just a bunch of discs drive bay, and I had like a Vantech one that cooked the hard drive on top because it was literally the worst design ever, and I tried to modify it and it didn't help. So I built a box that was solely designed to hold 8 hard drives, or I think maybe we could have held 10 hard drives, but I think I had 8 hard drives in it. You could see it there, and it just was there to keep things cool. It had drilled holes, and it had fans, and it was sealed, and it was beautiful foam press to hold the hard drives in place, so that when you open it up, if you wanted to take a hard drive out, you just unplugged it and lifted it up. It was beautiful. In fact, my friend still has that. In fact, I should ask for it back because I have enough room to store my old projects. And so that was before I wasn't sponsored, but she looks so sad. I think she gotta go poo. Before I got sponsored for my NAS previously, and before I bought my new unrated NAS, that was how I did hard drives. It just was just a bunch of dicks. Just a bunch of dicks. Are you happy? Freudian slip. Just a bunch of dicks. And I would copy all my movies or anything over from one to the other manually or on a schedule, and it was great. It was great. Holy shit. I did a audio interfaces roundup. The Focusrite Scarlett, the Shure MVi, and the Steinberg UR12. I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember that Steinberg being like, why is the Steinberg not in the picture? Oh, because I took that picture beforehand. That was a little Behringer one. In fact, the little Behringer one, Princess Pastas now. And I really liked the Shure one, but it was so weird, like an egg. So yeah, interfaces. Like I don't do a lot of pro audio or microphone gear in general. I mean, I'm gonna review this because honestly, I've done mukbang on this on my live streams on Twitch. And people like, or ASMR. I should say I've done ASMR, but mostly the things I do is I sit here, I turn these on, and I chew into it, and people hate it. There's a clip. In fact, Zeos, link the clip of you using these amazing Marantz MPM 3000 microphones to chew food. It's disgusting. It's 21 seconds long. Please, if you're freaked out by the sound of like mouth sounds, do not click that link. But it was like, I think someone paid me 500 bits to do it, and I'm like, all right, cool. But yeah, no, this is like, I should get more into the microphone aspect of it. I mean, my whole sound demo rig thing is just microphone shit. It's just me having fun with microphones. So I just should expand on that with Z reviews, but I haven't because it's just harder to do those. It's like doing a custom sound demo every time. And I do have some microphones to talk about. Audio-Technica AT2 2020 versus the Rode M5. The Rode M5 was my original recording rig, my sound demo microphone. And I bought the match pair from Australia. And then the AT2020, like that was completely, like that isn't fucking the most irrelevant comparison. But I needed another microphone. I can't do a microphone on its own. It's like, I am talking into the microphone. How do I sound? Great. Print. That's it. Publish it. So I had to have a comparison at that point. Yeah, no, ignoring that. The Elac Unifi UB5, they are awaited. These are the ones that I ordered with the miscolored cones. I had the option to just get them immediately with the miscolored cones or not get them immediately and get the ones that color matched because I spent like $500 of my own cash on that. It was like, no, I gotta get these Elacs. I love the previous Elacs. I gotta get these Elacs. And so I bought them and they were like, oh, we have a warning. It won't look right. And I was like, no, I'm going to wait for the proper one. I ended up waiting like 6 or 7 months. So all the hype and buzz around these new Elac Unifis was dead. Just gone. And I was like, well, that's fortunate. Fuck. 20, but still 250,000 views. That's pretty good for 4 years ago. And they were very good speakers, very clean speakers. In fact, my friend has them up in Connecticut. I should ask for those back. But yeah, no, they were a solid pair of speakers. But again, it's one of those speakers that was right at the price to performance ratio. It wasn't above it. Like I like things like RB42s, way above their price to performance ratio, way above. How much? $150, but they sound like $400 speakers. That ZPP, go, whoo. Those $500 speakers sound like $500 speakers. In Japan, I'm watching the Trash Taste podcast because, of course, I watch the Trash Taste podcast. See us, link the Trash Taste podcast below. Apparently, on Amazon and anything where they can rate 0 to like 1 to 5 stars, everybody rates everything a 3 because it's right in the middle. And it's exactly what you expect. These Elac Unifis are 3 out of 5 stars in Japan because they did exactly what I expect. When something does more than you expect for the price, that's the only time you get like a 4. And God knows what it takes to get to a 5. But apparently, if you're in Japan and you see a 3.5 star rating out of 5 on a restaurant, that means it's doing exactly what people expect, and that's good enough. So there you go. So, the Buchardt S200s. We could just walk right past these. No, we can't. Those are the big. Didn't I do the other ones? I guess I did them recently. Those things were a very short-lived fever dream because they weren't as extreme as the S300s. They were smaller. They were my first really nice set of white speakers. I had the double passive radiator on the back. And this desk, my upstairs desk where I am actually living, I had many choices to bring speakers up here. I got to bring back that Swan 2.1 that I was using in my old apartment. I decided on these iLoud MTMs because I spent my $700 on these and they sit on a shelf. So let's fucking get these room-corrected bastards going. But my next choice is the Buchardt S200s because those are sexy. Sexy. They're sexy, clean Danish monsters. And I don't know how that would work well with the wall here and the open space there, but oh my God. Those are, now here's the thing, those speakers just up and fucking vanished right after I got the review of them done. They were around for like 6 more months and then Buchardt pulled them. And then they told me about the Buchardt S250. And I have yet to see that come to fruition. Just a smaller, because everything they keep going is bigger and more expensive. And you know, from S300 to S400, from S400 to A500, from A500 to A700. That we need to return to smaller, cheaper Bucharts. The poor man's Bucharts that are only, I think those were like $900 a pair. $1,000. They were not cheap for such a small speaker, and I think that's what it was. People were just like, "Oh, this is not a lot of speaker for this money," but oh God, beautiful. Those were my take out the test every amplifier with speakers, and they probably should be again. I think I'll whip them out. I'll whip them out at some point. I'll find an excuse. Zeos loves to find excuses to use gear that he has and loves. The Kanto Bens. So, where do we begin with these? Because these speakers, for 4 years, have traveled with me. Not just in my apartment, in my house, but in my heart. They are not good speakers. But they're interesting. They're cubes, perfect cubes with rounded edges. They were bright colors. They're a coaxial 5 1/4. So that's a speaker driver with the tweeter in the center of it. And what that meant is that the entire 5 1/4 was being used as like a directional cone for the tweeter. So if you put them on like a thing in front of you, they shouted right in your eyeballs. And I was like, ah! But they were very clear. They're also sealed, which means there's no low end because you can't make low end out of a sealed 5 1/4 inch cube. Or actually the cube is probably like 7 inches to accommodate that. So they have no low end and screaming highs. What the fuck good are they? Those were my permanent home theater rear channels for, this is 4-year-old video, the last 2.5 years of my apartment life. Because I was using speakers on the wall, just on the wall pointing out. And then I laid those speakers down. I did that whole thing where I washed the wall. If you have never watched my home theater reviews on how rear channels should be, you lay the speaker on its ass, you point it up, and you use the entire wall, and wherever it intersects with the ceiling emits sound, and it's fantastic. And those were perfect for that. Didn't need low end because rear channels. Needed very powerful directional treble because you're using it to wash a wall. Needed to be small and aesthetically pleasing. Boom. The only problem was it used to collect dust because it's literally sitting there like that. So it would have made more sense to have like a dust cover over it. I just never built one. Those speakers would, if they sold them specifically for weird rear bounce speakers, they could have charged $100 a piece for them. Those were $60 a pair. Anyway, moving on. Thank you, Kanto, for existing. I actually have 3 of those speakers. Long story. It has to do with Amazon only sending me 1. And then I said, well, send me my other one. They're like, well, here's 2. And I'm like, all right, there's 3. Klipsch RP150Ms, or the good Klipsch. Probably the first time I had a Klipsch speaker Well, actually, did I have any Klipsch before this? I don't know, if, honestly, on the channel, if I had any or many Klipsch before this, but I knew the reputation of Klipsch, and that broke the Klipsch reputation for me because they sounded startlingly good, and up close they did it, and they're only a 5 1/4, so a smallish speaker, tall, but like not a 6 or an 8 or like the fucking R7s I got, goddamn 10-inch. But they had that rubberized coating on the horn, and the horn was a very specific shape, and it was the way it was handled with the crossover. It's a lovely speaker. It's a lovely up close near field speaker. And then you could put it in a room and turn it up. It was just like, all right, it's a 5 1/4, so it's lacking a little bit. Those speakers were part of my headphone shelf since 4 years ago when I built it. If you go back to any of my old videos in my old apartment, it was Emotiva speakers on the bottom, the Klipsch's on the left and right of the second shelf, and then I had the little speakers on top, the little Yamos. And it sucked because I love those speakers, and using them as part of my shelf was like, this is lame. But now those speakers are downstairs in use as the side channels to my home theater, because I can't do that wall wash thing I just talked about because my basement has no walls. So I actually have directional Klipsch speakers, one there and one over there, being powered by an SMSL D8S pointing directly at you, because again, near field matters. And when you're pointing on your side, you just want that, like, you want to just fill in that space in the side. You can't see me doing this, but I'm doing this on the side of the camera. So very good speakers, still use them to this day. There are bigger versions, this 160M, and then there's self-powered. I think the Klipsch 5s are like that. The Klipsch 5s are the exact same size driver. I think they're a 5-inch. And those things are tremendously. If those are those with DSP, it's amazing. The DIY Speedster sound demo, apparently in the Klipsch RP150M sound demo, which has 80,000 views because Chewbacca looks like she's trying to. Actually, Chewbacca looks like a giant tiger trying to maul me, like a huge cat, like this tall. So I'm amazed at that. How many views did this get? 291,000. So I guess that makes sense. 291 and 80. Okay. Kanto Ben sound demo 8,600, 12,000. Elac Unifi 123,000. Well, see, sound demos get some views. I think the sound demos persist more after the fact because my channel gets like 1.7 million views a month. But I put out videos every day and I only get like 8 to 10,000 views, which means 300,000 views on this month's videos. So 1.4 million views are on older videos, which I think sound demos account for a lot of that because people just want to listen to music sometimes. Sound demo, sound demo, sound demo, sound demo. Jeebus Christ. Like, I didn't put these all in a row. This is just YouTube being weird, sorting this shit. Did I do a shootout of sub $100 mechanical keyboards, including the Jellycomb and the Geezer? I did, apparently. Moving on. I actually still have the Jellycomb. It's a silly name. Very heavy keyboard, but like my first mechanicals, and I didn't know what to talk about. The Status Audio CB1, or the Status Audio Closeback one, was good. Here's the thing. It was good. It was good. It was good. But it wasn't great. It did very good things. But it never was like a Civga 006 or an MH751. Those are all $100 or slightly below $100 closeback headphones. And those were like, oh my God, I need these. And I never needed. These were never built well enough to make me fall in love. Big pads, big cushy pads. Round though, they never quite fit over my ear 100%. So even if they were 95% as good as other headphones I just talked about, that extra 5%, just if you're in the same price bracket, why bother? It was one of those. It's like I have ice cream A and ice cream B, and ice cream A has chocolate chips, and this one doesn't. But the ice cream is exactly the same thing. Fucking throw that one away. Give me the chocolate chips. It was lacking chocolate chips. The BeyerDybamic Custom Streets. No. I honestly, I don't remember if I even gave it a good review. I don't remember what my thoughts were. But BeyerDybamic has a very, very thin line it walks on with me. Like, I did that whole BeyerDybamic pad shootout, and I realized that, wow, these things vary so much, and then the pads fuck with them so much. It's like, just going to put all these BeyerDybamics on hold. The Tigers are good. The MMX 300s are good. The, like, T5Ps are good. Anything else, I'm weary about. Just wary about it. It's not wary. No, weary, it's wary. Wary, it's wary. So we move on from that. Let me see what I've got going on. 6 minutes left. We got this. The Z review of the Sennheiser Urbanites. Those were fucking terrifying. They were very small. The problem is there was Urbanites and Urbanite XL, and I don't remember if I got the Urbanite XL, but I could judge them based on these. They were Beats. They were style cans with terrible comfort. And they were low-end monsters. And that's not bad. Look, I'm not upset that a company like Sennheiser would take the initiative to have a specifically dedicated, like, let's beat Beats at their own game headphone. And we'll call them the Urbanites, bro. And it's like, they did that. And then I reviewed it. Oh, it's got that wire. I forgot that that's the Urbanites wire. I still have that wire somewhere. One of the best wires ever. Super thin. I like thin, flat auxiliary cables and USB cables. I just, maybe because I'm Italian and I love linguini. Something like that. Moving on from those to, oh my fucking God. How much time do we have left? 5 minutes. I could probably rant about how bad the Sharkk Bravos were for 5 minutes. Or you can all just go find the review of the Sharkk with 2 Ks Bravo. Because that was a headphone that claimed to be 10 times better than every other headphone on Earth. And it cost like $220. And I think it said it should have cost like $45. Like the build was shit. The technology, it was the same tech that was in those ESS 422s that I talked about a couple of reviews ago, where it was like wait, maybe I didn't talk about it yet. Those might be newer. Anyway, there's the ESS 422H, which are a wood cup, and they're a dynamic and a little electret. It says electrostatic, it's not, it's electret. And it's 2 drivers in one, and you put on, and this company claimed that that system obviously made it like, you got 10 times more resolution, bro. And that was their selling point on like Kickstarter. And I feel so bad for people who bought into it because they are some of the worst headphones that I've ever reviewed. And I'm pretty sure I went off on them on the, like I went nuts in this review. It was like screaming. 25,000 views on this review. Holy shit, I used that wallpaper. See, back in the day, I used to use really good wallpapers for everything. Now I just save those really, really sexy good wallpapers for good things and not for the Sharkk Bravo. I think I would have probably put a picture of a garbage pail. Obviously drawn as an anime waifu. Just I'm trying to think of people who call their wives trash. It's great. Anyway, those are shit. Moving on. Schiit Jotunheim. Okay, so this is what's actually going to take up the rest of this review, 3 minutes. Because people have been asking me for a while now about the Schiit Jotunheim. Should I get it? As of 2021, no. There's a Schiit Jotunheim 2 coming out. I will get one. I think Schiit said they would send it to me. I haven't gotten it yet. It's coming out. The Schiit Jotunheim 1 was the first, look at my finger, 1. You know when someone, an asshole in the comment yells first? That's the Schiit Jotunheim. It is the asshole in the comments yelling first. Because they were the first balanced amplifier that came with a balanced DAC. Before the Jotunheim 4 years ago, there was no Geshelli Labs. SMSL wasn't putting out the SU8 or the SU9. There was no toppings. That was your option, the only option for a balanced headphone amp with a balanced DAC. Because you were able to get like a balanced amp. Like I think the Aoun X7S was out. But it was RCA input, so it didn't have a balanced input. So you couldn't put a balanced DAC to your balanced DAC. Stack to your balanced amp, and it was like, So for $500, $400 for the amp alone, $500, you got a balanced DAC built in and a very powerful balanced amplifier, and that was it. That was the only one you could get. That was numero uno one go. So I gave it a review. It was a little bit like, it was like really fucking powerful. And I used that as the excuse for why things sound a little bit bright on it. But it was like just shit squeezed this thing together. Literally shit squeezed out some shit and it became the Jotunheim. And for when it came out, it was the only thing you could buy. So of course I recommended it. I want to balance has its advantages. Plug in a set of headphones that can be balanced. Oh my God. People start making balanced cables. It started the balanced revolution. However, we are now 4 years later, and there are about 5,000 items I would tell you to get before a Schiit Jotunheim 1. Every number of any 789. stopping it at 789. It's $300 to get that and get any of the balanced. Get a Geshelli, get a J-Nog, get an E-Nog. You could get a portable. I'm using the fucking Honey over here. Just anything but the Jotunheim 1. The Jotunheim 2, we're gonna see because shit hasn't continued being shit. The new shit, the Heresy, the Magni 3, the Madi 3, the do I have it up here? Right there. Boom. The Magnus Modius stack. That thing there, the Magnus, holy God, fuck you, Jotunheim. The Magnus is like, it's up here in my office so I can use it. If they can pull off the Jotunheim 2 and basically just make it a Magnus, somehow better Magnus, I don't even know what they would do to do that. Magnus with a DAC built in, then they've got a winner. They've got a fucking winner. And it should be $400 with the DAC at that point. Unless it's like 15 watts a channel, which is stupid. I think I'm done. I have 13 seconds. All right, Superlux 668 and 669s. They're great. No, actually, these are the AKA Samson SR950. Wait for the beep. Wait for the beep. It's coming. Yeah. Okay, Superlux 668. And the 669 or the Samson SR950s. I love Superlux headphones. Those were the, if I had to pick the origin story of this channel, it would be the Superlux headphones, because I did my sister-in-law, my now sister-in-law, then just girl my brother was dating, and she loaned me her Superlux, and I was like, wow. And I love the cable, and you put the pads on the 668s. You just, I forget which pads they even were, but you just put better pads on it, because the Superlux pads were all garbage, and the 669s pads were garbage, and you changed them out. And basically the 669s were the monoprice retros of the day, and the monoprice retros had slightly better sound now, but the similar shitty build. They were like $40 headphones. Amazing soundstage on the 668s, and then killer low end on the 669s, and they were comfortable once you change the pads. No, those are like the headphone that, like, okay, you could buy these, but pretend they don't come with any pads. Some headphones would honestly benefit if they just didn't come with pads, because you get them and it's like, oh, M40Xs should not come with pads. They should come as just a raw plastic headphone, and you go, okay, I guess I need to buy pads, because anything you buy will be better than what came stock, and they shouldn't even have come stock. It's like using a TV's speakers, although this Samsung, honest to God, has some of the best sound for a TV that I've ever experienced in my entire life. I've used it like to watch things. It's amazing. But most like TVs have the worst sound, and you're like, why do they even bother? And that's the same with the pads for the Superlux. Why did you even bother? Just come with nothing and then let me buy it on my own. Okay, so that's it for today. Tomorrow, the next time I have one of these, this is 14, so the next one will be 15. AKG K712 Pro will start with. That wallpaper in the description. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to support the channel, Patreon and Subscribe Star, see reviews early. Also participate in the yard sales from the 1st to the 10th of every month. Free shipping continental United States, 1/3 shipping international, which costs me money. And I actually had a package come back to me, because it was like, yeah, we mixed our flight connection, so here it is back. And meanwhile, it's supposed to be in fucking Denmark, and I'm like, why? So packages are getting weird to ship, so we'll talk about that. But yeah, that's for the $5 tier. $10 tier, behind the scenes private Telegram chat. Ask me any questions you want there. Get access to a swap meet channel where you can trade gear that you're in for lifetime. And if you support long enough, you get into a lifetime chat, which you actually have to put up my invites for this month. Shit, I got to do that. Anyway, that. Hi-Fi guides, forums, wallpapers again. I'm done. I'm Zio Spintera. Tomorrow will be another review, and I'll see you the day after that for another review, and then the day after that for another review, until we have so many of these that I can never catch up, and then we'll be golden.